Buenas amigos, estamos de regreso and welcome to a new episode of Lincoln. Enjoy! Buenas amigos, ¿qué tal? Estamos de regreso and welcome to a new episode of Lincoln here on Premier Swiss Media. Today we're here with Oliver Moertl. A big welcome to you.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for spend some minutes with us in telling us more about you, your profession, and also some insights and some news in the sector you're working in. So thank you again for being here, and introduce yourself.
Of course. My name is Oliver. I've been in photography now for the last 4.5, 5 years. I'm working currently at a marketing agency here in Salzburg, and we do everything from food photography, product photography, car photography, as well as lifestyle, e-commerce and stuff like that. So I've been doing that now for the last 3 years with kind of a specialization on food, products, drinks, and lifestyle photography, working with fairly big brands, getting to travel around all over Europe. So it's been super, super fun. But again, for the topic of this video, what has been interesting over the last couple of months is kind of AI and how that's affecting the creative scene. So essentially, jobs like mine, photography, illustration, and graphics designs.
Absolutely. Yeah, as we started last Tuesday, we began this new series discovering more about AI. And obviously AI is huge and you can see it from different perspective. So in this case, we wanted to discover it from the photography point of view. So how made you switch or eventually to discover more from normal photography to AI photography? What are the advantages, or what can you explain it better from that type of photography?
I mean, essentially, I guess more from the basics of it, how AI works is that essentially you give it a prompt. So that the tool that I'm specifically using, there's several different tools, and it will go off of a knowledge base of several other photographs. So for instance, if you want a particular style, a Van Gogh style, for instance, right? The AI or the computers have analyzed that particular style of Van Gogh, for instance. And so when you prompt this tool to say, I want to have food photography in Van Gogh style, it links up food photography as well as Van Gogh style and kind of merges all these kind of styles together to create essentially 4 particular images that then you can start to tweak and then kind of have more creative input on. So for instance, when I use AI as a tool, I'm still a photographer and I'm not in any way thinking about saying, okay, I'm going to put the camera down and only focused on the kind of the computer side of things. But what I've been using AI for, which is a super, super helpful tool, is, for instance, just today, actually, I'm creating what's called mood boards for a particular client. Let's say, for instance, we're going to go shoot a particular product and they want something very, very specific. So instead of me, spending hours and hours finding particular photographs that I think, okay, this will fit the mood. Is it a cigar lounge wearing this particular product? This person's wearing a particular shirt, male, female, dark lighting, bright lighting. So instead of me finding those images, I essentially take those kind of keywords and then I put them into this AI tool, and it will start to generate photographs for me. So that's kind of a useful way for me to kind of save time, frankly. But also at the same time, almost kind of spark kind of cool creative ideas. Because let's say, for instance, on the food photography side of things, I can now create things in a very artistic way that you would not ever be able to do in real life. So that's kind of a cool tool in that sense.
And potentially there are illuminated styles on there, right? Potentially.
Yeah, Van Gogh was just one particular style that I chose. I mean, you could do anything, really anything. That's not an exaggeration here.
And what made you curious about this word? What was the sparkling that made you switch a bit, or at least trying to know more?
I got into it, actually, funny enough you say that. I got into it about 4 months ago by accident, because my friend and I, a side topic, we were talking about dreams, and he had said, oh, why don't you use this tool to help describe your dreams so you can create an image out of it. So I tried it out and I thought, oh, this is kind of weird, because at the time I didn't know how to write the sentences properly into this AI tool. So it kind of just gave me a random world that, yes, it kind of was like what I was thinking about, but not really. Didn't touch it for about 4 months, up until a good friend of mine here in Salzburg he'd said, oh, you have to check it out. There's a new version of this tool out. You need to check this out. This is particularly Mid-Journey, the tool that I'm using. And from there, I thought, oh, this is really cool, because then I started to understand how to speak the language of how the AI can interpret my prompts better, if that makes sense. And about a week and a half ago, the company I'm working for, our CEO had just said, yeah, we're going to be implementing this tool as a tester to see how creatives can use this tool as a way, into the workflow that we have. So I've kind of now been designated the AI guy at the company because I spend so much time on it, and there's other
And to discover something new, like for the company.
Yeah. And so again, for instance, when I was talking about before, even today, working on mood board for a certain particular client, this has saved me a lot of time because I'm able to, again, come up with ideas that I say, look, this is just an AI version, but we're going to go in this similar direction. So.
Got it. And you also like putting it into a metaverse, or you're not like aware of the metaverse or something?
Metaverse, NFTs, I am really zero knowledge on that. This is I'm using this particular tool just for fun, honestly, because who knows where this is going to go in the next couple of years. As well as just like it's a different language. It really is learning how to speak to this particular creative content IE tool to be able to, get exactly what's in your head onto the screen.
So now you made me curious. So in case, can you share something with us in order like to know better? What are you talking about?
Let me share my screen. Like, so for instance, like I was mentioning before, I as a food photographer, focus primarily on food. I personally enjoy eating food, and that's essentially why I got into food photography. And now using AI, this Mid-Journey tool, I'm able to come up with more creative, cool, kind of more artsy food designs. So essentially, I want to create it in a way where it's like, this doesn't look realistic, but people can still realize, okay, it is food. So for instance, you can go quite interesting pictures in here. Where essentially you can say, look, we know it's a fondue. This is not obviously realistic, but people can still see it's food photography and it's still fun, cool, and creative. When I first got started, though, I really kind of wanted to see how can we create something? Can we create something that's super realistic? And frankly, you can with these tools, again, depending on the prompts that you give it. This obviously, as a food photographer, kind of scares me in a way, because I'm thinking, okay, why do you need to hire a food photographer when I can just type in, cheeseburger and here you have it, right? I still personally think, yes, this is a tool that if it's on a low budget and a particular restaurant or brand doesn't have the budget to hire a photographer, they might use a tool like this. But essentially, that's also for me as a freelancer, I wouldn't want to work with a company like that who doesn't have budget, for instance. But this, for instance, is like you can go very, very specific and hyper realistic with these things. Or I say, look, let's have some fun with this. Let's create a tower of crabs. Again, I thought it was cool, funny, still in the food photography realm, yet, has a little bit of element of this kind of 3D rendering to it. So you can tell, okay, it's not particularly real. Or another funny example, kind of octopus with spaghetti hands. Again, obviously not realistic, can never be done in real life, but still in the food photography realm. So I'm using this particular tool, and again, you can use it for anything. Like really, you can create anything. I mean, you guys being in real estate, you guys can come up with real estate blueprints, real estate, how a house could particularly look like, just to entice clients to say, look, this is particularly something where this could be interesting for you. Oh, do you want a pool in there? Okay, let me add a pool. Oh, you want a terrace in there? Let me add a terrace. So you can kind of, once you start to understand how to prompt this AI tool in the correct way, you can really make some fun and creative stuff. And so for me, I'm going more the direction of still food photography, because again, it interests me, and the community around the AI world is pretty cool, because it's very fresh. People don't know how to use it yet, and it's all about knowledge sharing. It's really cool. But yeah, I take it more in a, this is not going to replace me kind of way. I have a bunch of photographer friends that say, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? This is really the end of a career. And I thought, this is not the end.
It's so inspiring. Like whatever, like you can imagine you can do it. So it's not even like doing photography, it's literally expressing what you have in your mind. So I mean, it's also kind of different from photography, but it's really like, I love it. I love all your pieces.
But let's say, for instance, here, I mean, this is more of a hyper-realistic
Yeah.
set. For instance, this
Yeah.
could potentially be real. Again, if you put it in a mood board, quite small, among other pictures, real
Yeah.
pictures, people could say this is real. But this is a way for you can help the client to say, look, this is the direction we want to go in. This doesn't have your product in it, and this is, but this is kind of the direction we want to go in terms of dark and moody, light from the side, glass jar here, white teacups there. So it's just a helpful way to quickly get ideas down instead of spending hours and hours looking for the right picture and say, oh, then you have to describe it to the client. So again, I'm using it as a tool to really kind of streamline my workflow with clients.
Yeah. No, amazing. Literally amazing.
So yeah, this is more of like a 3D render here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at the cheese.
Yeah. And so again, you can, I even forget what I put in here in terms of prompts, but yeah, so this is, in terms of, for me, this has been it's only been 4 weeks now, but it's been an exciting 4 weeks, honestly, because it's always growing, always changing and developing very fast.
And you're using a particular app for this? Or
So there are, from my understanding, there's 3 or 4 different apps, well, not apps, but like programs you can use. Mid-Journey is the one I'm using. There's DALL-E 2, and I'm forgetting the other 2 right now because I don't use them as much. But when we get together, like we have a creative group of people that when we get together, we say Mid-Journey is kind of like the Apple of the creative content world because it's very easy to use, nice user interface. You don't really have to do much, but there are other ones that they are much more, you can get much better results, but you have to really know it's very technical. It's a lot of coding and stuff like that.
yeah, so it's like literally coding. Okay. I was wondering that. So it's not like how can I say, video editing that you have to put things together, but it's kind of smooth. You have actually to have codes like Python or like histogram, whatever. Okay.
Not like that, but it's more like, so for instance, if we say use a prompt like cheeseburger,
Okay.
with the one I'm using right now, Mid-Journey, it
Okay.
essentially already has a whole database, for instance, of cheeseburgers,
Okay.
as this example, where there's other programs where you have to download all the information on cheeseburgers
Okay.
in order to be able to even type it in and then get a cheeseburger, for instance. So it's you have a lot more control when you are the ones downloading the information, because right now if I type in cheeseburger, it could be any cheeseburger that it knows.
Mhm.
Again,
Yeah, the other one you know the source where it comes from, so otherwise.
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And maybe that's where I'm going to go. Maybe that's the direction I'm going to go in the future. But as of now, I've been trying to understand and learn the language of Mid-Journey, which has been a fun couple of weeks, I have to say.
Thank you for teaching us a little bit. Literally, it's something like super new to me. I had no ideas. I mean, I have friends who have been working in metaverse now, so like something, but it's also different from here. So about photography and AI, I had no clues about. So thank you so much for today, also for showing us your works. I will also put your Instagram profile up in the comments, so in case someone is interested, can go and check for or your latest post. And thank you so much again for your time today.
Thanks, Beatrice. It was good talking to you.
Stay tuned por mucho más here on Lincoln. Thank you.